Hi everyone, Kay Berkner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Hello, Kay.
How are you today?
I'm doing real well, real well.
Good, glad to hear it. So today we are going to talk about what you call the 6 types of testing and manipulation. Basically, the ways that or the strategies that kids will use to try to get what they want from their parents. So could also be defined as the ways that kids push our buttons. So right. Dr. Phelan, can you start out and tell us, like, how is it that kids are so good at pushing their parents' buttons?
Well, I think a lot of this stuff is inborn and innate. I think it comes naturally to kids. A lot of people think you have to learn it, and it's true. Kids can see it modeled by their parents, by siblings, in the movies, on TV, and things like that. So I think that's part of it. But I think a lot of this, believe it or not, like, temper tantrums or whining are good examples of things that I think come naturally to a lot of children, unfortunately.
Sure. So in the book, you outline 6 different types of testing and manipulation. Can you share with us what those 6 things are, those 6 strategies that kids may use to try to get what they want?
Yeah, and it's these are things that these are all going to be familiar to parents. So you'll recognize your kids and what I'm about to say, and it's important to label these when you're going through a difficult time. First one is badgering, which is the why, please, 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 just keep after you and after you, mom, 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 mom. You've heard that before. The second one is tantrums or temper. Little kids throw themselves down on the floor. Older kids may swear at you, accuse you of being a bad parent. Third one is threat. I'm going to stop eating. I'm never doing any more homework. One little girl said, I'm going to go to bed, but I'm going to lie there all night with my eyes open. And that was her threat for her parents not letting her have a friend sleep over with her. So the fourth one is martyrdom, which is crying, pouting, looking sad, looking teary. Nobody around here loves me anymore. The fifth one is butter up, and it's the only one that makes you feel good first as a parent. Gee, mom, you got the prettiest eyes of anybody on the block. I'm going to go clean my room. Something good's going to happen, but it's going to happen if you give me what I want. And
yeah, that kind of automatically makes you suspicious there.
It does. It does. And that can also be, kids can be naturally loving and so on. So you have to take that into account. But when it's, if I do this for you, then you give me that. And that can be suspicious, as you said. Last one, some people think is the worst, and that's physically destroying things. My son used to like to break stuff around the house, and that can be upsetting. So those are the big 6. So we're talking about kids not getting what they want from you. They're going to try and do one of these 6 things to put emotional pressure on you to give them their way.
Absolutely. And some parents may notice that there are behaviors that their own kids practice that you maybe didn't mention. And I know that in the book you talk about kind of sometimes kids will combine some of these testing and manipulation behaviors. What are some of the common combinations there that parents might see?
I will tell you first, the most famous and most aggravating in all our surveys, testing combination, if you take number 1, which is badgering, which is the repetition, and you take number 4, which is martyrdom, nobody ever gives me anything or anything like that. You put those together, you get a word that starts with the letter W, and parents always guess it. It's whining. Whining drives parents insane. So it's that voice and the complaining thing and the messages, I've been put upon, you're mean to me, all this kind of stuff. Whining can drive parents insane, but it's a good combination tactic.
Yeah. So why is that such a good combination for kids? Why do they keep doing these things? Just sort of why generally it can be so frustrating for parents.
Yeah. Well, the why, and now we get into how you handle it. The why, there are 2 things that can reinforce testing and manipulation. One is if the kid does it and you give them their way. So you say no to the ice cream cone, they whine, you give them the ice cream cone. That's, pretty obvious. The second reinforcer that parents often don't realize is revenge. So you say no to the ice cream cone and the kid whines or whatever, and the parent has a temper tantrum. So now I'm saying, what's the matter with you? Why do you do this to me? Blah, blah, blah. I have just reinforced testing, oddly enough, because when the kids are mad at you, they want to punish you for not giving them their way. And if I'm going like this, it's obvious that they have effectively punished me, meaning they got effective revenge. Are they going to repeat that? Yeah, they will. And some parents who really, just having a bad day, you're really not thinking, they will do the revenge reinforcement first. The parent will blow up and have a temper tantrum. Then the parent will give the kid the ice cream cone. So the kid gets a double reinforcer, and you're off to the races with that kid's life.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to explain to my daughter the other day, who is nearly 7, that her 3-year-old brother is doing some of the things that he's doing because he's trying to get a specific reaction from her. And she was like, but why does he keep doing it? And I said, well, honey, think about it. If you walked up to a wall that had a button on it, and every time you push the button, you got a piece of candy, you would push the button a lot, right? She's like, yeah, I push the button all the time. And I said, well, every time you get upset with your brother, you're giving him candy. I said, so if you have to stop getting upset with him and not give him that reaction that he wants, and then he will stop trying to push the button, because eventually he will learn he's not going to get the candy. And so I that was very spur of the moment that I made it up, and I did not actually try to incorporate. But then she, later that evening, after they got home from daycare, he said something, and she reacted very briefly, and then she was like, he's pushing the button. And I was like, you are right, he is. So
you are training her for motherhood.
Just for dealing with any sort of teasing, really. I feel like it can happen with peers as well. But so what can parent, obviously it would be great if we could all in the moment realize, oh, you're pushing the button. But sometimes if we're busy and we're in the middle of dinner and we don't want to give you that cookie, and now you're throwing a fit at me, how can parents stay calm in this situation? And how can they sort of reduce the occurrence of some of these testing and manipulation behaviors?
Well, the first thing is to think correctly, which you mentioned there in passing, and that is the first thing you want to think. If your child says to you, you don't love me anymore, okay? That's a ridiculous comment. If you take it seriously, you're sunk. If you don't take it seriously, you say testing and manipulation, there they go again, okay, then you're not going to do something that's going to be bad. If you do take it seriously and you get upset, now you're reinforcing the revenge motive, and you may give them what they want because you feel guilty. Now you're reinforcing the other one. So seeing it as testing and manipulation is actually critical. So it can be ignored if it's passive. Okay, like pouting can be ignored. If the whining or the testing is more aggressive, like a tantrum or following you all around the house, you can use counting from 1, 2, 3 magic, which is I always say counting is so perfect for whining, it's not funny. So when the child is getting into it, you say that's 1. And what that means is they have to think, almost like when you were explaining to your daughter, they have to think to themselves, I'm doing something wrong. I better figure out what it is, and I better stop it. Okay, and that's a good way to do it, because you're putting the burden back on them. Instead of yelling at them or screaming at them that they're giving you a hard time, you just let them know by counting, and they got to figure it out. And it works. You stay calm, and that helps you stay calm because you know what to do.
Yeah, because you've got a plan.
Yep.
In this situation, I don't have to give them the cookie. I don't have to figure out what else to say to them. I just know that the answer is, okay, that's 1. And I think that having that plan can really help parents to stay calm. And eventually your child will figure out that when they push the button, they are not going to get the candy.
Well, and you made a good point before when you said, why do they do that? That technically is a rhetorical question, which is a statement of frustration and not really a question. And so what we just did, and what you did, was we take that, why do they do that? And we take it out of the rhetorical question category, make it a real question, and answer it. Why do they do that? Because they're little kids who are frustrated, who have a natural tendency to testing and manipulation, and you, mom or dad, got to handle it. That's part of your job.
Yep, absolutely. Well, terrific, Dr. Phelan. Thank you so much. This has been great. If you are interested in going deeper into the topic of testing and manipulation and how to discourage that sort of behavior in a very gentle and calm way, Dr. Phelan will be doing a free seminar on that topic next week. So we'll add that link on the Facebook page. We will also be sending it out in our email newsletter. So head on over to 123magic.com to get signed up for that. So you make sure to get that registration link, all the parenting tips, downloadables, and other things that we send out each week. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.